Good evening. Let's talk. Tonight we got a good show. The panel put together. We got a very interesting show. A black man being emasculated right before our eyes. Well, we have Jamel, Anthony,
Going on.
Arden, and Bassine, and
Right now,
myself. And we're gonna we're gonna take a deep dive into emasculation. Emasculation, being deprived of his male role to make weaker, less effective, to make feeble. I'll start with Arden. Arden, give me your thoughts on male masculation, in particular, black male masculation, and as the younger guy on the panel, and what you've seen in your eye in the last so far amount of years that you've seen.
hey Q, thank you, man. I think we got a lot of experts on the panel, and so my opinion is a modest opinion, and as the other gentlemen definitely have a lot of insight, and always like what you're doing, Q. I think this is an incredible topic, considering I live in Georgia, and so I see a huge homosexual population. Also, I am very active within church, and so one of the gentlemen in church said something about 5 years ago about him being involved in church and him witnessing women pray, him witnessing women worship, him witnessing women sing, and how as a child he took on those women's characteristics. And so I'm not ascribed to that. I believe in a man uh, genetically acting as a man, and so I don't know um, where the disconnect happened and how guys uh, became so feminine and how it became so popular. And so the conclusion that I came up with was that there is a sense of attention. What is the biggest selling factor in the music industry? Shock value. What is the biggest factor with people in life? There's a lot of kids that their whole life they've been told, shut up, sit down, shut up, don't say nothing. Well, if you do the opposite with a child, instead of telling that child to shut up, but hey, let me hear your opinion, let me hear your voice. And so what we're witnessing now with as far as demasculization is a lot of people seeking a voice, they're seeking attention, and it's coming out in a feminine way.
Mm,
It's a perspective.
I like that. I like that
Mm.
perspective, Arden. Next I'll go with Bassine.
Okay, let's get into this. First of all, we got to go back. We got to go back. We can't just start right now. You know, as my good brother informed me, we got to go back to the shores of Africa. We can't just
Yes,
start
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
And as we was born into this country, our men was raped, our women was raped, and as a man, you can't defend your woman. You already looked at as a weak man. Your woman looking at you weak, and from that, what happened to us is we took on the characteristics of our so-called masters. So what do we do in return? Because we wanted the same power and we wanted to feel that power, we started raping as well.
Mm,
So opposed to helping us, we was hurting us because uncles was raping nieces, uncles was raping nephews,
Mm.
and this
Mm-hmm.
thing went on for generations. And a lot of our elders, them were some of the secret talks that they don't want to have. So we wonder what's going on. All that's still going on now. And then a lot of the brothers come, they go to prison. What happens in prison? The strong prey on the weak. And when the weak get a chance, he want to rape somebody that's weaker than him. So the thing continues. And then to get into our culture, the music and everything, that community, that LGBT community, that's the strongest community out. You can't say nothing, do nothing wrong with them because they come for you. They in politics. They in the music business. They in the TV business. You can't stop it. They everywhere. So your household is full of it, and they got your kids doing things that you definitely ain't on board with. But I'm not gonna hold this up. I'm gonna pass it, and I'm gonna get some more later.
Milton.
Yes, sir. So the emasculation of Black men in particular, I feel like overall, as my brother Basim was talking about, we were chopping it up a little bit before the show started. It does start from way back from the coast of Africa, in terms of us feeling like we're not men because we were shipped off, bought, and it was a transaction. I'm not saying it wasn't forceful. I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't agree, but they were our people in Africa also that were giving away people. So the confidence was broken from there. Then you got on the ships, you were a 3-month journey. So the whole situation of just masculinity since we left Africa. And another thing we were talking about is that our history doesn't go just back to the shores of Africa with the slave trade. It goes back to when we were kings, when we were innovators, we were creators. So I think that just overall as a people, based on the education system, society, media, it's hard to feel like a man, especially a Black man, because everything in society is kind of pushing you down. I heard the brother Arden talk about kind of getting attention, and that's why I kind of, guys are being gay now or a little bit more rampant with the homosexuality. And I kind of disagree, and I think it's partially. First of all, it's acceptable now. So overall, we don't have our elders raising our kids anymore. Social media is raising our kids. So anything society wants us to think is kind of easy to make our kids think it because we're glued on the phone. Everybody here is addicted to their phone. So you can imagine what the kids are, because we know life before there were phones. So overall, emasculation of men is something that's so rampant that it's taken on. Men emasculate themselves, women emasculate men, society emasculates men. And when it comes to the Black men, of course, we're the biggest threat because we're the strongest creatures on earth. So just like any other Survivor series, you have to eliminate the strongest. I saw something on TV today or a post today, and it talked about our new Supreme Court judge, beautiful Black woman. That's a great thing for us. And also our vice president, which is a HBCU grad, which is great. But he also talked about the fact that both of those women have white husbands, right? And is it a coincidence that they look at, who you're sleeping with, who you're making a child with, who you're creating a family with, is definitely a reflection of who you are inside. So is it saying that the Black man is not good enough to be dealing or could create a woman, a Black woman of stature that could go on to do all these great things? A lot of subliminal messages are being sent. So I feel like it's just paying attention and kind of going back to who you are of origin. And I just want to add this one more thing. Anthony talked about culture and how culture affects masculinity. First of all, I definitely agree with that, because I feel like in cultural DNA, I feel like as a Jamaican American, I do look at myself a little bit differently than the typical based on the way I was raised. And you start to see that a little bit more as you get older. And I wouldn't say typical in terms of just anybody. I would say any different race, but you have certain, I would say, disciplines and things that you do culturally in certain third world countries. And when you come from another country, America doesn't really have a culture. The culture in America is really music and entertainment. So anything that they want to put out for entertainment and music, people are going to start dressing like that, acting like that, talking like that. They don't have a strict family culture of this is right, this is wrong, anything goes. So coming from Jamaica, I had a strong sense of pride of being a man and kind of, my Marcus Garvey, coming to Harlem, like as Basim was talking about, came to Harlem and he started the civil rights movement. So just feeling that sense of pride of being a king from Africa, I think is what people lack here in America. Black men don't feel like, hey, we were kings. Our origin is slavery, and I think that takes a toll on everybody and just how everybody reacts to us, our women, single fathers. when they become a single father and they have to co-parent, and the mom may have a little bit of animosity because the relationship didn't work out. Now your kids are demasculating you. You know, like so many different levels of situations that Black men have to deal with, and it's crazy. Sorry, I'm going on and on.
Anthony, let me hear you, Anthony.
Okay, so I think we all agree that emasculation of the black male started, via slavery or whatever, because like Milt said, our history goes beyond slavery. We were kings in Europe, for 800 years. We built civilizations. Every human being right now comes from that's on Earth right now comes from Mother Africa. It's just facts. So if you look at it right now, American society can't run with that. They can't run with that. Back then, when they brought us over, they said we have to break them down as fast as we can. Physically wise, we're superior. Mentally, we're superior. But they had to have a way to break that stuff down. So they said we got this 6'5", well muscled, just well everything black man. How can we break them down? Let's do it mentally. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them on. The first thing we're gonna do as soon as we bring them up, we're gonna put them on stage. We're gonna strip them down naked, and then we're gonna poke and prod and point and do all this stuff and make fun of them. Everything with black men has been made into public spectacles. Lynchings, all that stuff were public spectacles built to break them down. See what? You have a strong body. See what we can do to you. See how we can break you down. See how we can make you less than. So if we look at it like this like from going from slavery into like the 50s and 60s, you have strong, viable black men in homes, with good jobs, taking care of their families. How can we break that down? Let's put in welfare. Now with welfare, can't have a man stay in the house anymore. So the woman is say, okay, to get this easy money, we'll still be together, but we'll get you out of the house. And like everybody says, my grandmother always says, the further you are away, the easier it is to miss you. You know what I'm saying? So, you get them out the house, you're putting them in there. And now we go into the 80s. You have the drug epidemic and stuff like that, breaking down families, can't get a job. Jobs are being outsourced. You can't walk in and get an easy job anymore. So what do you turn to? You turn to drugs. You turn to selling drugs. That pushes the man out the house even more. Now you got a child, a male being raised by mother figures. And when you're raised by mother figures, that's all you know. All you know is mother figures. You don't know a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. I was lucky to have my father in my house and around me all the time. And just by seeing my father and my grandfather and the men in my family, I basically say, okay, this is what you do. This is what you don't do. This is the decorum for this. This is how you act on this. This is how he would handle this. So if I had a problem, I could say, okay, well, my dad or my grandfather handled it this way. You know what I'm saying? And it worked out for them, so it'll work out for me. And when I see emasculation on point, especially with Will, as soon as I saw that slap, I basically saw like years of pent up trauma. It was years of it. And it's not to be excused, but when I see him slap him and his wife sit back and is just like this, you know what I'm saying? That shows me that you don't have respect for your husband. Because at the end of the day, any woman, white, black, Asian, whatever, if your man is at a award show at the pinnacle of his career, you're gonna do everything you can do to protect him. Even if you have issues, a real wife would have been like, baby, let me grab you. I understand you're mad. Let's handle this later on. You know what I'm saying? If you really feel that way, we're gonna handle this later on. And the thing is that we talked about this earlier. There's a lot of, and this is a hard pill to swallow for women, and it might catch me some flack, but I don't care. A lot of women want the man role until it's time to be the man.
Say that
I don't
again.
know if I can explain that to you.
Say that again.
Huh?
Just say it again.
So a lot of women want the man role, the father, the husband, the protector, the how do I say this? The aggressive role until it's time to play the aggressive role. Because Jada was playing the aggressive role for a while, and then when it came time to to do what needed to be done or whatever she felt needed to be done, she looked at him and said, "You go do it," to his detriment, and that's something I had a problem with. And like I said, I like Jada Pinkett Smith. I never had an issue with her, period, until I seen this. And I just think like a lot of women, they've been carrying the male. Well, I don't need a man. I'm taking care of my own. I'm taking care of my sons. I'm doing that. They've had that role for so long that they don't know how to give it up when it's not needed. And that goes with anybody with anything. If you've been playing a role for a long time, like I could say Q, Jamal, myself, Milt, Arden, if you've been playing a role forever and then it's time for you to fall back out of that role, it's difficult to do.
But Anthony, that's also by design, because the woman had no choice but to step up financially. And once you put a sensitive, nurturing woman in a financial, powerful position to control her family, you're going to have division of family. That's just natural. So they took the black man down, all right? And as you see, even naturally now, more black men are unemployed than women. So women naturally for the past 10 years are bringing home more money in a lot of households than their man. It gives them a little bit more of a bravado. And show me an independent, successful woman, and more than likely I'll be showing you a single woman, because they take that as manhood. But they were also forced in those positions. They were forced into those positions because why? The dad was absent. Or as you talked about earlier, it was more financially secure to have the dad absent. If you think about from civil rights, even through slavery, the black family was still strong. That's a recent phenomenon for the
Jamel,
black family to go in other directions.
Milton, you hit something. We're gonna get back to your point, Milton.
Yes, sir.
On what happened with the feminist movement and what it was truly designed for. Because I think that a lot of people in the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of our sisters, some of them, got caught up in this matrix, and some of us get caught up in it as well. Jamel, what is your temperature on emasculation? I know you've been real. I kind of one thing about you, Jamel, is that I know you real laid back, and you've been like really stepping up, far as like saying like, "Yo, this isn't right." You even did a video that I thought was interesting because it was like people were commenting on your video like it wasn't you. Like you did a video of somebody else. If you wanted to disagree with what you were saying, they could have just been talking to you. They were like speaking in third person.
Right. I mean, to everybody's point here, I think the demasculation of men, in particular black men, started, I think, with the perversion of sex. If we really, really, really want to dig a little deep, because I think the demasculation of men in general started before slavery, because once sex was perverted, once you brought homosexuality into the world, and I think man understood the power of sex and how sex is used as a form of control and power over another human being, particularly women. And then it was used, like I said, to gain control over men as well. And then we became the target, meaning black men became the target once I guess those that were in power, in a sense, saw our power and saw how we can be controlled or used or manipulated, through the power of sex and persuasion and other sorts. But I just think that overall, we just, since slavery, since the beginning of slavery, we've just been a target. Black men have just been the target in general, with the demasculation. I mean, like you said, for each brother that made a point, you go through history and you can see where it was like level. Not I don't want to say levels because I don't think. I think they ramped it up. They ante up the type of demasculation, but I just think it was like, okay, we're every era has a mindset. So we're here, let's do it this way. We're here, let's do it this way. Let's what I mean. And it's just been a domino effect throughout history with men just being removed and allowing women to take the position where we're supposed to be. And like I said earlier, I just feel like what makes it so prevalent now and seem like it's so out there now. Of course, we got social media, so that exposed a lot of things that we didn't see in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. But also, I feel like a lot of men, to kind of coin a phrase, a lot of men are becoming woke about who they are, especially black men. We're becoming woke of who we are as a people in general. And we're trying to take that role back, but women have been carrying the load for so long. And like the brother Basim said, they now have this, power, a false sense of power and entitlement to the position that men are supposed to be in, and they don't want to relinquish it because they've been holding it down for so long. And it's like now we're fighting each other to try to get that position. And I just think that it's just been something that's systematically we've been targeted systematically throughout the years. And
definitely agree with that. I definitely know that. I feel like women want to be. I feel like women want a man though.
One of the things
they do. I believe
they want a real man. Yeah,
I think in my heart of hearts, regardless of to Q's point about a lot of the women on the page,
right,
the bitterness that you see on the page,
it's frustration.
It's frustration, but I think in their heart of hearts, they want a real dude.
They do.
But they've been damaged so much that they don't even want to take the chance.
And they could run other dudes because a lot of dudes are moves sexually. So all they got to do is put on something or act a certain way, and they could get what they want. So when they get it to a real man. I'm sorry, Q. I just have to say before I forget. When they start dating a real man with masculinity, it's seen as aggressive. It's seen as like, who you talking to? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you because there's so many different instances where I'm going to protect you. Somebody knocks on this door right now and we don't know who it is. I'm jumping up. I feel like that deserves a certain level of respect, right? Just like I respect you that you're my nurturer, you could be there for me. So I just feel like overall, women want that man to take control, but they have to kind of be eased into it, especially if they didn't have the father in the home. They've seen their moms holding it down for the whole time. Now you're going to come around and tell me how I should act, blah, blah, blah. And they also put masculinity on monetary power. Back in the days, you was a man because you built your house, you protected your house, you went out, you hunted, right? You did what you were supposed to do physically as a brawn, right? Now you can sit in your house as a geek and make $2 million, and girls are looking at you like, oh, that's the man, right?
I just want to propose one question. I want to propose one question because this is a thought that popped into my head. I want to know, and Q, I don't want to do your job because you do a great job, but I want to know
definitely
how does demasculization hurt us?
Well, first of all, you have to understand something. A woman, she recognizes a man as being a man, but then you have a lot of males running around here. They have the age to be a man, but they're not quite a man. They're still immature in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? They don't take care of what they need to take care of. They still running around here making sure they rims is shiny and things. They still playing with toys while men are handling business. And she's always gonna know the difference in the two because we come across different. We not the same. As men, we responsible. We take care of bills. We handle our business. She don't need another boy. And that's the problem with these males, they boys. That's another one sucking on the mother's breast.
Right.
So we go from the mother's breast to his woman's breast.
Definitely.
And you have these new men running around here. They got a new title they call Mr. Moms, stay-at-home dads. Come on now, you're a man.
Right.
It's time for you to go to work and get that money and come home and take care of your family.
Exactly.
I want to ask you guys a question.
It's almost an expectation now.
and I want to play the videos I got, but we'll get into that to the video, the first video, because Anthony had brought it up. I did have a video about Will and Jada, and I kind of want you guys' opinion because I heard a lot of males' opinions about it, and I think that the narrative is that men are upset with Jada, and it's funny that I think that most men aren't upset with Jada, that most men are upset with Will. So I'm gonna play this clip. Hopefully it goes off right. It's a little on
You've
delay.
been on a hell of a journey with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's people's feelings involved.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
It's healing that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So what happened, Jada?
Okay, so I think it was about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Started a friendship with August.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually became really, really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it all started with him just needing some help.
Mm-hmm.
Me wanting to help his health, his mental state. And we found all those different resources, to help pull him through.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
That particular point in time, it was indefinite.
Yeah. I really felt like we could be over. You know?
We were
over. And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement.
I think you need to say clearly what happened.
And I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
Hey, that's what I said.
An
Stop the
entanglement?
tape.
Yes.
I can't.
Yes.
A relationship.
Yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely.
We decided that we were going to separate for a period of time and you go figure out how to make yourself happy.
I was in a lot of pain and I was very broken. Now, in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized that you can't find happiness outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily enough, you and I were also going through a process of healing in a much different manner.
Mm-hmm.
I would
During that time, launched into an interaction with August. What do you feel like you were looking for?
I just wanted to feel good.
This is
It
painful
had
to
been
watch.
so
Yeah, it is.
long since I felt good.
Wow.
Husband, now I got to be with you at the press conference while you tell the world
Stop the tape.
about your transgressions.
Well,
Like I love my baby. I'm gonna stand by my baby no matter what.
I definitely understand why it would look that way or feel that way, but I actually don't look at it as a transgression at all. Through that particular journey, I learned so much about myself and was able to really confront a lot of.
I can't. That was painful. That actually, yeah. Thank
Are
you.
we gonna act like Will Smith ain't have the pick of his litter though?
Can I just speak on that real quick?
We can't act
Please,
like Will
I
Smith.
I'm about to go.
I just want to say something real fast. The way, if you looked at that video, I don't watch what she says. I do listen to what she says, but I watch her face when she says it.
She's
And
the man.
She's
the man.
The spitefulness that was in her face.
But Anthony, it's because Will has been a mega star for over 30 years.
Nah.
And he's seen thousands of women that wanted him, and probably he had them. And so she's bitter to a degree too. And that's why he's smiling and laughing, because she got just as much dirt on him.
First of all, before
Can I give y'all some insight on something real quick?
Which makes sense.
One second, because we're jumping all over this tape right now. Q knew what he was doing. So first of all, Will and Jada.
Hold on. Let me tell everybody why I played the tape.
Okay, I'm going right after you, Q.
I played the tape because at the end of the day, Jada cannot emasculate Will. Does she empower him? That's a whole different thing.
Right.
He's allowed anything that Jada Pinkett has done, based off of what we know, He's allowed it to happen.
That's his food. First of all, Will Smith, I don't care about money. I don't care about money. Will Smith to the core is having problems. He's having insecurity issues. He came into that. The reason why he's attracted to Jada is because she's the man he's not. He likes that authority.
Yeah.
What? If you got millions and millions of dollars and you can get any woman that you want, why are you getting this short Napoleon woman that's telling you what to do?
Bro,
She's in love. Hold on, bro. She's in love with a dead man. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, the things that he has to put up with, I wouldn't put up with if I was packing bags at the grocery store. That's word to everything. Because that's the man, and that's the core of you as a man. So what he's doing right now, he's feeding his insecurity. He likes Jada. He's saying that like a little girl. She was the man. She was on a chair. She had her legs folded. She was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
It's the hero complex. It's the hero complex because he wants to be seen as the hero in the relationship to the point where, like, you gotta look. I read another article the other day saying that Jada said explicitly that she never wanted to marry Will. It was just to the fact that her mother was like, yeah, but listen. Her mother was like, listen, Jada, I don't care what you want to do. You need to secure this $152 million.
But Anthony,
that's obvious, bro.
Let me bring it back, y'all. Let me bring it back.
Just snatch
bring it back, because it's always been shotgun weddings in the culture, and those of us know when your grandmother turned up pregnant, your great grandfather showed up at the house with the shotgun and told your grandfather, "You're gonna marry my daughter." My thing is, right, like I said, I played the video because I think that a lot of brothers is upset because they may feel like Will need to grow a set of testicles. And this is the anger that has now spilt to Jada. But my question and the reason the purpose of the show is, what can he do? Because we can identify, some of us been in situations like Will. Or have friends like Will and been in those type of situations.
I've never been in that situation.
My thing is, what could he do to change that?
So I want to touch on that. Here's the deal. So I think there's an element to this that a lot of people don't understand. There's an interview that Will Smith did some time back when even before the Red Table thing came along, and he did an interview. He was actually talking about the first time he met Jada Pinkett. Now, this was during the Fresh Prince era. Mm-hmm. And he said that he fell in love with Jada Pinkett during that time. That's when he knew that's who he wanted to be with. Keep in mind, he was still married to his first wife, his oldest son's mother. He was married to her. He said, now check this out. He said he used to go home and cry because he was in love with the woman that he couldn't be with. He was talking about Jada Pinkett, right? Now, he also said that he's a man that would never divorce. You see what I'm saying? He said he would never divorce. In fact, to that point, his ex-wife divorced him because he said, I will never divorce. I don't believe in divorce. His ex-wife divorced him. He wasn't happy. He didn't want the marriage, but he didn't want a divorce. So, to even further the point that I'm trying to make, I know a person I used to work with. This brother was married. His ex-wife cheated on him, got pregnant, and had him thinking that the baby that she had was his baby biologically. He found out later that the baby wasn't his, and he ultimately got a divorce. Years later, some very long years later, he got married again. I want to believe within my heart and soul, he told his new wife what his ex-wife did to him. The new wife, being a very domineering woman already, used that to her advantage and demasculated this brother so much so because she knew he wanted her. And she knew that at any beck and whim, she could get what she wanted. And trust me, she got that. So to that point, I look at Will Smith, I look at that video, and I just look at his life because I paid attention to all that he put out there about his personal business and things. I see a man who is in love with a woman that in many ways don't love him. And she has taken advantage of that. So what we see as a demasculation, I think we see a man that's trying to cause this woman to love him like he loves her, and she's just being who she is. Whether she was this way in her previous relations, we don't know, because all we know is Jada Pinkett used to like Tupac, and that's it. We don't know if she was married before. We don't know what men she might have dated, and we never heard.
What we do know, Jamel, is that she's a different fabric than Will Smith.
Absolutely.
She's a mover shaker, like a slick talker, city girl. And Will Smith is more refined, right?
And to that point,
and reserved. So what Jada does for Will is she feeds the fact that, first of all, she's not a shapely woman. She's small. She looked like a little boy. Come on, let's talk for real. She's not no woman. And I'm not saying you could fall in love with anybody. So I'm not saying that shape is gonna make it. However, let's put all of this together. He could get anybody he wants. He's with somebody that has a stronger personality than him. When he's sitting at the table, he's cowering into that situation. You could tell what's going on when the camera's off.
I
have to say this. I have to say this for just a disclaimer. I don't feel like the slap was real. I don't feel like that. I feel like I've seen people say. I don't feel like I feel like I've seen people get slapped before. I've seen people react before. I feel like that wasn't real. But I'm gonna talk about it hypothetically because it was done for a reason. I think it was done for a reason. But I don't think that any one of us would react the same way. I think any one of us would have not had our hands behind the back while somebody's slapping us across the face after we just talked about their wife. I just think there's a lot of situations with that's kind of corny. But Will and Jada is a real situation, in terms of their cross gender. Look at their kids. Their kids' offspring, they have a confusion in terms of who they are sexually.
But
you
to
gotta look at that.
To that point, bro. Will Smith said in an interview as well. He said he was doing an interview. I think he was overseas somewhere, and he said they was asking about his kids because I think at this time that's when Jaden had started wearing the dress.
Right.
And the interviewer asked him like, "Hey man, like you see your kid wearing a dress, your daughter shaved her head, this and that." And Will Smith, he said, "Yeah, we try to give our kids the freedom to express themselves. However," he said, "but I honestly feel like we've given them too much freedom."
Which means Jada's running the show.
You got to.
I don't necessarily think she's running it. I just think Will is
running it
because of his heart. Listen, and I'm sure whether y'all married now, been married, whatever. At some point in your life, you desired a woman so much that you were willing to capitulate to whatever she may have wanted.
Not if it takes away who you are.
Well,
because she's not gonna love you.
All right. So hold up,
fellas.
Not every man is that you,
fellas.
I know, but not every man is a man. That's the whole thing.
Can I put something into you guys' conversation?
Hold on, Anthony. We all got good points. I believe that we're speaking about an issue that's minor to the bigger issue of emasculation that we see in our communities every day and through TV, through media, through politics, through our education. So I just use that as an example. I don't want the show to be about Will and Jada. That wait a second, Anthony. That's on the forefront, right, and that's in front of us. So that's what we're going to try to attack a little bit. Basim, you had something you wanted to say?
Okay, I wanted to just kind of round it out and finish it out. First of all, they're involved in what they call an open marriage. So therefore, you're seeing another man do your wife and you doing another woman. And let's be honest, they in Hollywood. I don't know it to be a fact, but probably another man have done him. So you have to understand.
There's a lot of signs for that.
Allegedly.
So therefore, he's been broken. He's a weak man. He's more or less he's a male. We have to call it like it is. He's showing us a male. And that's why his whole family is so dysfunctional. And his kids have no respect for him as a man.
Exactly. Because your money don't make you a man.
Well,
Neither
I
does your
wanted to say,
fame.
They just said the daughter wrote a letter to the dead Tupac talking about, I wish you was alive so my mommy
Right.
could be happy. Come
Right.
on, man.
But what's that? What's that, Bussy? What is that?
Absolutely.
Craziness.
but what I wanted to say was this, everybody, is like, let's go back, let's circle back and look at their history as opposed to emasculation, right? So you got Jada Pinkett, Baltimore, went to, grew up in Baltimore, grew up in a, rough area. Mom was a heroin addict, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Will Smith's background, grew up middle class, West Philly, good neighborhood. Parents had good jobs. Mom graduated from Carnegie Mellon, one of the best colleges you can go to. You know what I'm saying? Will was accepted to MIT, all of that stuff, right? All that good stuff.
Different
so
worlds.
Going back to what I can't remember who said it in here,
mm-hmm.
but Jada represents the part of himself that he wished he had.
Exactly.
So what he's going to do is, because he doesn't want to lose that via her, he's going to do everything he can to protect it. Everything he can do to protect that and not lose that, he's going to do, whether it's to his detriment or not. Because even when we look in the last video that Q put up, at the end, he said, we ride together, we die together, which means he doesn't give a damn about what's going on, what's happening, whether it's happening to his detriment. He's going to stay there because, because he doesn't want to lose that part. And on top of that, I think the reason why he went buck wild on the stage is because he's been looked at as that soft, well-mannered, nice black male, non-threatening. I used to call it non-threatening black male. So when you go into an area, it's like, oh, look, that's Will Smith. Oh, we love Will Smith. He would never do that type of stuff that, all the other stereotypical black men would do. He would never do that. That's why I think a lot of people pretty much got shocked when he did it. They was like, wow, he actually could be like one of these stereotypical black men that we thought he could be.
But think if he was pinned up for all that time, and right, for all that time, he's been a sucker. He's pinned up. Is he gonna walk on the stage that calm, collective, organized in Hollywood with the perfect slap, to turn around to not know if the dude is gonna punch you in the back of your head and walk back to his seat with a straw? He almost twitched back to his seat and it started clapping.
Charles Barkley said it best, man. I don't think it applies to Will in terms of craziness. Right. He always said crazy people don't know they're crazy. So when they doing something like
but
I'm
being
talking
pinned
about
up.
that.
But if you have a pinned up frustration, it comes out different than that. That was not pinned up frustration. That wasn't organized. Let me walk on the stage, slap you. He didn't seem like he was flabbergasted. He went back to the seat. He cursed 2 times or whatever. Somebody that's pissed, right? And I've had enough. They're not going to go up there and slap you once and turn around. I've seen people pissed. You've seen a girl that's been pinned up and they finally get some freedom. How they act? They act crazy.
But he didn't go back to the seat.
So let me ask you guys. Look, I'm quite sure.
I don't think that's wilding out.
I'm quite sure we all have our opinion on that situation and Will, and wherever they go, they go. That's something that he's got to do as a man. He need the right people around him, or she need the right people around her. I think it's interesting how we don't know who Will Smith is.
Right.
I mean, the persona is that he's a nice guy, but we don't know. He could be emotionally, financially, spiritually abusive to Jada. We don't know. We don't know. But we do know.
Personality, she would say that.
Well, from a professional opinion, I believe Will Smith don't know who he is. I believe Will Smith is damaged. He got trauma that he need to handle. He need to do some inner framework in order so he can find out who he is.
Definitely, I agree with that 100%.
Bringing it back to emasculation, right?
And what about? Sorry,
if we use that situation as an example, and surely that's not the only example we could use. We could use a bunch of our actors who say that they're heterosexual, but they willfully put themselves in a dress.
Right.
And one of the questions that Shay asked was, so are these are we emasculating ourselves? That's the question I want to ask. Arden, I want you to answer it, Arden, because you've been quiet.
I think the money factor is huge. When you look at the red table talk, you know, I wonder if Facebook threw them $10 million. If they threw them $1 million, you got to look at the how valuable is that slap
Exactly.
on the Oscars.
Chris Rock
They say
out.
all. Donald Trump said all publicity is good publicity.
That's it.
And so when you go viral like that and you got the whole world talking about you, are more people downloading his music? Are more people downloading his movies?
Definitely.
And so it's a brand, you know, and so the red table talk is a brand and the slap is a brand. And at the end of the day, when Martin and all those guys put on a dress, it's a brand. And so Young Thug put on a dress. These guys live in Atlanta, but Young Thug shot up Lil Wayne's tour bus. So Young Thug's baby mother got shot 2 weeks ago. Are these guys? You see, we're dealing with a different generation now. Exactly. These guys are gay and killers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we got a whole nother animal that we dealing with. We dealing with. You really can't disrespect nobody for real because you don't know what they're capable of. And so these guys could be gay. They're setting up other guys, acting like they're gay, going to their house, robbing them for their cars and money. And so it's Atlanta is ugly. You know what I'm saying?
It's like Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, it's
anything
ugly.
goes.
It's
and Will
ugly
Smith,
right now.
Arden, if you saw Will Smith's post on Instagram right before the Grammys or the Oscars, he was like, "We're about to cause chaos. We're gonna shake the world." This was his post before.
They did.
And everything he posts, he's like disappearing. He's an actor.
Yeah. Hold that thought, Milton, because I got a question. I'm gonna come.
He's an A-list actor.
A-list.
He's not just a regular actor. He's an A-list
he's
actor.
on the other side type actor.
So Basim, this is for Basim, Jamel, and Milton. Based off what we were talking about behind the scenes, and then some of the stuff that we discussed, is masculation. We know basically is buck breaking. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Is this part of the destabilization of the black family?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well. First of all, let me share a little journey with you. The last 7 years of my career as a correction officer, I worked in what they call a sexual civilly committed unit, where they civilly sex offenders. And coming from a hardcore prison as Broadway, which I did, we had to go through training in order to work with them. And when the doctor stood up and said, "Oh, well, you know, we promote homosexuality here," I was like, done. You promote homosexuality? Yeah, well, they think about each other. They won't think about kids or different. And it was just like, wow. And to be honest, 90% of that population indulge in homosexual activity. This is not something somebody told me. This is something that I witnessed for myself. And I was like, yo, come home, like sick on my stomach, like, yo, this is crazy.
And remember, that same prison system was made right after slavery. So it was like a channel.
And you know what it is? New Jersey has a prison system, Avenel, which are just for sex offenders.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know about this.
That's crazy.
And it's something else. Like I said, you know, you got men running around here playing with other men like it's okay.
Because they've been emasculated.
Absolutely.
And what about the genetic warfare? Do y'all feel like there's something in the water that's making these kids a little bit different or a little bit more feminine? Do you think it's just because females are because I feel like females have been raised, and I know people who have been raised with just their moms, and they're men. And they're men, you know.
I know
so it's genetics in terms of vaccines, in terms of this stuff going on, brother.
You know what it is?
What's
you know
up?
what it is? It is a laid out psychological plan that's been planted for decades.
Programming.
So if you think about it, Think about Vietnam, right?
Mhm.
What did America do in Vietnam? They said they wanted to win hearts and what? Minds, right? So what they would do is they would put propaganda out. So let's look at it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, 80s, broken home, single parent household, mom's leading the household. All the shows that would come out. Think about all the shows that we had when we were younger with single moms and stuff like that. We had Thea, we had Growing Up, we had a lot of shows, you know what I'm saying, that had like, you know, single parent black mothers holding a household. How many single parent household white mothers had shows like that? It was like one.
And
It
even
was
the
like
black
one.
ones,
It was called Getting By.
right?
And it had Thelma Hopkins and it had what's name in it. That show
You
didn't
know, it's
even last
history.
the season because they didn't want to see that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Many people don't believe that. So
Right.
to me, I think it's a years-long program.
Hey,
Definitely.
Arden.
Years-long programming.
Definitely.
We don't
Arden,
need Minneapolis.
let
We
me-
don't
let-
need this. We don't need that.
Mhm.
Definitely hit on something. TV programs. When we pay attention to the TV programs that the youth are watching today, all programs have to have at least one gay character.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well, they teach it in the school, Basim. It's straight in the curriculum now.
Mhm.
even the superheroes we grew up on, we never paid attention to no sexuality with our superheroes. They
Exactly.
were just heroes. Now you come out, oh,
It's deliberate.
coming out, he's gay.
It's deliberate.
Hero. We don't care about that.
It's deliberate. I was talking to a friend that's in Philly, and they have counselors in school that are promoting these junior high school and high school kids for sex changes. Like this kid came home and told his mother, "I'm about to be a girl," and they're giving him the hotline numbers and giving all the resources to make this come through. And the mother's fit to be tied. Like, what's going on? You
Well,
know?
just-
But see, if you think about it though, guys, what is, and I'm gonna ask everybody a question here. What is the pinnacle of masculinity?
I got a question.
Model
I got a
of-
question
of
for you guys.
masculinity.
The pinnacle of masculinity.
Like the model of masculinity.
Being able-
Worldwide.
You
Oh,
want to know?
worldwide.
You want to know
What's-
the model? You want to know the model of masculinity? Here we go.
To myself or to
Here we
everybody?
go.
I'm just talking
It's
about
available.
like in
Children
terms. I'm talking about just in
and
terms of
dogs are loved unconditionally. A man is only loved under the condition that he provides something.
There you go.
he's not lying.
Right.
Right.
But I think that's everybody though. If the woman is not providing something, she's not on a point also. But I think to be a man is to be a protector, is to be a decision maker, is to be the force of the family. Like
the man naturally should naturally. I gotta say should now.
Of course.
Should naturally want to be the protector and the provider. But I got a question that somebody in the chat asked, that Shay asked in the chat, and plus I want to ask Arden something, because see, I want to focus on Arden because he's in Atlanta, and the reason why is because I know 96, 97 Atlanta is not 2022 Atlanta. Arden, how long you been down there?
Collectively, I've been in the South for 20 years, and I've been in Atlanta since 12, so that's about 10.
Tell me explain how the city, one thing I don't want to, and I know they work hand in hand. Sexuality and masculinity, emasculation works hand in hand, but I want to focus on the emasculation part because people I want to say it wisely for YouTube. People have always had alternative lifestyles. And when you're dealing in this country, it's a smorgasbord, so you never know what to expect. But I want to talk, Arden, I want you to talk about how you've seen the city basically be emasculated.
So I think one of the downsides to homosexuality is the reproductive part of it, right? Men and women are made to procreate. And so when you got two men and you create a confusion there, you know what I mean? Because the natural progression of life can't even take place because two men obviously can't produce a baby. I don't care what LBGT person, whatever we talking to. The fact of the matter is 2 men can't produce a baby, and the fact of the matter is 2 women can't produce a baby. And so that tearing down and becoming, women have made it cool to be gay because all of their friends are gay. All of the guys that do their makeup and hair to some degree are gay. And so Atlanta has 6 million people, give or take. And so there's a huge population of
for the algorithm, say alternative lifestyle.
yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah, Atlanta has 6 million people, give or take. And so a huge population is based upon entrepreneurialism and highly educated individuals and just downright hustlers, from strip clubs to illegal activities. And so when you have a mixed bag of entertainers and movie stars and Tyler Perry Studio and Steve Harvey and all of these people trying to get on, you're going to get a mixed bag of individuals. And so everything in that bag is there. And Atlanta has taken on a culture of anything goes. It's the Black Hollywood. And the future, if it's based on Atlanta, the future of our society is not a healthy one. I'll say that.
Can I touch on something?
Go ahead, Jamel.
I was at the basketball game. I'm gonna show you this example. I was at the basketball game and one of the rappers was there, and the mascot walks around with a diamond tester, and this little boy had to be 8 years old, and he had on like a $50,000 watch full of diamonds, and it's like, what is our future going to become? You know, it's like a joke, really.
I wanted to touch on something to kind of answer your question direct, Brother Q. I do agree with Anthony in regards to we are part of the problem. Like, we have embraced this, over sexualized feminist, idea in our manhood, like you said, with the wearing of dresses and taking on these roles as women and things like that. I mean, and I just think that money plays a big role in that, because of course you dangle a dollar sign in front of somebody, they'll do whatever. They'll sell their own mama. You know what I'm saying? They'll do whatever. So it's definitely something that this generation is embracing. Like, it's like the leadership in our communities are not there. When I think about the leadership, I think about this documentary I saw some years back. The brother that Suge Knight ran over, the brother that was in Training Day? Bones. Okay, he did a documentary maybe about 10, 15 years ago, and it was on HBO.
Back to the party.
Arguably, to me, my personal opinion, the greatest documentary in regards to breaking down the gang culture, the history, the psychology of the gangs, Bloods and Crips, and all of that. I ain't seen it. I got about 4 documentaries on Bloods and Crips. That's by far the best one. But one of the things that he was explaining in the documentary was how, again, the Black man was removed out of the community, out of the home. So now women are there to basically influence younger men on, one, how to try to be a man, but yet they're seeing, they're doing it from a feminine perspective. And so it's just like, how do you combat that? Like, how can you really
I think you have to realize, Jamel, that we're at war.
Absolutely.
Getting the family back together, where we're a unit, where the woman is supporting the man, realizing that every time he steps outside, he has a different mind frame. It's everything coming at him, and it's been like that for years, and it could create health issues. She's gonna have a different mindset when he comes home. But if the black man has everybody against him, from driving to work to being at work to coming home, and all these subtle subliminal things that's been happening for years, and then have to come home to someone that's talking to him less than what he feels like, you're not going to have a family, you know, because everybody has to be a man first. And I think that what we don't realize is that it's coming up so subtly, right? And so many different things that we have to stop, take a look at our history, take a look at what's going on, examine it as a family. And I feel like the women are going to be much more supportive to the men once they realize what we're going through, how we're seeing it from our perspective. But that conversation has to start. And women, I feel like, will be a lot more supportive because they want a man. They want a man, you know?
Okay.
Wait a second, Anthony. Basim, wait a second, Anthony.
sorry.
Basim, let the brothers in the panel know about your organization, what you do.
Well, I have a life coach. I'm a life coach, and I have a Facebook group, Men Dealing with Hidden Secret Trauma, because there are a lot of us that deal with hidden secret traumas, and we tend to put a mask on every day, opposed to actually showing up as who we really are, because a lot of us are broken. So I created the group for men, just for men. So therefore, we have a place where we can come and we can open up and we can share. Because somebody might need to hear what you're going through, because they're going through something similar.
Definitely.
You know, it's a great group. And like I said, we got to start doing that inner framework with ourselves so we can understand. If you can't understand yourself, you ain't going to be good to nobody else.
Definitely.
You know, so we really have to start doing that work, that inner work, and figure out who we are and what we want to do and where we want to go.
I agree with that 100%, Basim. I was talking on another podcast, and we were talking about how people walk around and they lead with their traumas because they feel like there's nothing wrong with them, but they're actually leading with their trauma. They're leading with that insecurity. They're coming off super aggressive, and they never really peel back the layers to realize that, hey, that's probably something through childhood, or this is something that actually hurt me that I never really dealt with and I buried it under. And now you're walking around with that behavior that's a symbol of your kryptonite, you know? So people don't want to admit how weak that they can be, you know, and they don't realize that that's a big part of being a man, that you have to admit the weakness.
Well, one of the biggest things is,
yes, Q.
As this society here is toward men, and it toward us wrong, men don't want to seem vulnerable.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Men don't want to I can't cry, I can't express my emotions. But the Creator created me to have all these feelings and have all these emotions. So therefore, I need to let it out, because if I keep suppressing it, I'm going to explode sooner or later. But the biggest problem is most of us look at life through the lens of other people opposed to understanding who we are. So I'm looking at your life and I want your life, but I don't know what life really entails. Only from what I can see.
Correct.
And these are the things that we got to address.
Right.
Milton,
what's up, Q?
Since you were on the show that we did on hypersexuality, I want you to answer that question that Shay's asking. Can you see it?
Do you believe if men were less hypersexual, men would be less likely to be emasculated? First of all, I feel like hypersexuality in men is only going to exist based on what women are offering. Men jump through the hoops that women set. So if you're gonna see a whole bunch of hypersexual men if women are hypersexual, and women nowadays are super hypersexual. They're more sexual than men. Women are the aggressors when it comes to sex now. Am I alone out here? Women are the aggressors. Okay, so let's just call a spade, and that's what it is. So I don't feel like men can be hypersexual without women. If you're talking about heterosexual men, I can't walk around acting crazy, because that's not going to get me what I'm looking for. Based on how you're training yourself and you're telling me the hoops and the bar that you set for yourself, that's what I have to cross to get to you. So if it's real easy and you're walking around naked and blah blah blah, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see hypersexual men as well, because I feel like women control it.
Hold on, Anthony.
Let's look at real quick.
I want you to address this. I want you to address this statement real quick, Anthony. But I just want to tell everybody in the chat, if you have any questions for the brothers on the panel, ask the questions, and they'll be more than likely to answer them to the best of their ability.
So if we don't address the gay agenda and the divestment movement from many angles, we are in trouble. So
Alternative lifestyle.
Oh, so yeah, I agree with I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that because, like, you know, it's like, all right, so let's look at it like this, right? People, let's talk about the gay agenda first, right? We're talking
Alternative
about
lifestyle.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
Alternative lifestyle.
Alternative lifestyle.
So now we can't see that's the thing about it. That's
Sorry.
a part of emasculation. Like,
Well-
I can't call gay person gay now.
Well,
Like, honestly,
let's
that's bad.
just talk about.
depends on
It's not a
what
bad
you-
word.
Well, I know.
It's not a bad word to me.
Before YouTube
But for the sake of the
decorum,
show, it is.
I know
Yes.
for YouTube decorum, so we don't get shut off.
Yeah,
Let's just say
definitely.
alternative lifestyle.
Right. Alternative
So-
lifestyles.
So okay, so we're talking about addressing alternative lifestyles and stuff like that. Now it's more prevalent than ever. So we're fighting about as black men, as fathers, as brothers, as husbands. We're fighting, you know what I'm saying, as boyfriends, whatever. We're fighting that agenda on all angles.
Mhm.
It's like, for the most part, it's here to stay. You know what I'm saying? You know, I do my best as a man to say, hey, like, you know, I don't care how anybody lives their life. I don't have the right to tell anybody how to live and stuff like that, but I have the right to choose what I allow myself to be around. You know what I'm saying? I can control only what I can control. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say if anybody decided one day they just wanted to start sleeping with men, hey, that's wrong for you to do. That's not what I, you know, as a human being am allowed to do. But what I can do is I can educate myself on the situations. I can decide where I want to be at, and I can do that. As for divestment, right, on both ends, that's more of a personal decision. I would say people divest because they've been hurt. So if you look at, like, I'm on TikTok a lot. So, like, I see on TikTok there's three big wars going on right now. There's three big wars. There's alternative lifestyle wars, you know what I'm saying, between certain subsects of the alternative lifestyle. There's a black man versus black woman war and stuff like that, unfortunately. And then there's a war with how do I say this right, with black men or black women divesting, basically saying, you know what, I'm done with us. I'm gonna go on this side. And it's sad. So what I say right now is that, like, it has to be broken down to, like, just base philosophies. What we had in the 50s of just, like, you know what I'm saying, what we had in, like, almost the 60s, where we had black men, black, you know what I'm saying, black women taking care of their families and being with each other. You know what I'm saying? Even, you know what I'm saying, personally, and I'm going to put my whole situation out on there and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not married to one of us. And the reason why, there's no reasons behind it. I didn't choose to divest. I just met her. It was what it was. And then we got married. I tell people all the time, people's like, well, did you choose to be with her? I was like, you know what I'm saying, I chose to be with her, but it wasn't a situation I was just actively saying, like, I'm not going to be with, like, you know what I'm saying, my own people. It just came up, started dating, hung out. That's how it was. But when I talk about people actively divesting out of spite, saying, okay, I've been hurt by, you know, 4 or 5 different black women, or I've been hurt by 4 or 5 different black men, so I'm doing it. That's a psychological, personal problem that needs to be handled with therapy and other resources that a regular person can't, you know, provide.
Humans kill me with the racist thing, because all of the animals hang out with each other, and they don't mess with the other type of animal. I never seen an eagle flying with a pigeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they stick to their own kind. Humans are the only kind that, if they stick to their kind, they're racist or they're biased. It's natural for you to stick to your kind. Anthony, your wife, you relate to her. The reason why y'all like each other is not a physical thing. That's not going to keep any marriage together. So y'all have personality similarities and background similarities. That's what's going to make it pop. And you shouldn't even have to explain that. The thing about it is, everything that's being pushed right now is anti-life. Everything is pushed right now is anti-life. If we continue it, there is no more life, and people are like, well, you know, he has the choice, and you could divorce your parent, and you could change your sex. What's going on? Like, at what point do we say, like, yo, this is all crazy? This is all crazy. It's foolishness. We're having topics about things that, if our kids continue with this and their kids, they're not going to be here. Everything is to bring the population down.
I was getting ready to say that.
Right.
I was getting ready to say that.
Is to bring the population down. And they've been pushing the whole thing that the population has been too high for years. The same person that was telling us the population was too high, I'm talking about for the past 5 years, is the same person that has the copyright on the COVID-19 vaccine. So at the end of the day, I mean, listen, I know there's code words and all that other things, whatever. I'm seeing what's going on. Everybody's seeing what's going on. But the agenda that's being pushed, if we continue to do it, we're not going to be alive.
Let me ask one question before we close.
Anti-creation.
Right? We all heard that when we were kids. I'm talking about kids. We were kids and we were taught, you know, even if you didn't have a male in the house, you had your uncles, you had guys, you had guys you know you looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you 5 brothers, as well as myself, what could we do to bring it all back?
I just spoke. Somebody else can speak.
I just go first. I think it just starts with each individual, you know, understanding, educating himself, and learning who he is, because that's what we've said about Will Smith. He needs to learn who he is, and we all need to learn who we are as men, as black men, who we are as black men, and then be that example to as many men around us, including our children, nephews, and even the women in our lives. Because to your point, Q, to your point, when we were kids, I was raised by a single alcoholic mom, and I didn't really have a lot of male figures in my life, you know, like intimate male figures, like in home. You know, I have brothers and stuff, but they didn't live in home with me when I was younger. But my mom taught me, you know, boys don't wear earrings. You know, boys don't do this. Boys don't do that. You know, you have women that would say that to you as a boy. Don't do this. Don't do that. Boys don't do this. Boys don't do that. And so I just think that what we as men need to do.
Did that make you a better man when your mother told you that?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not saying she made me a better man or less of a man. I'm just saying that was something that she told me. And that's something that I just never did, not necessarily because of what she told me, but I'm just not an earring guy. You know, I just don't like earrings in my ear. So, but I don't wear chains. I don't wear jewelry. I don't, you know, it's not an earring thing. I'm not a jewelry guy. So, but at the end of the day, I think if we change and be the men that we know we are, or want people to see us as, I think that will then in turn change or influence, if nothing else, the children in our home, and then hopefully they will then learn, glean, and then, you know, and become better, you know, moving forward. I think the group that Brother Basim has is a great way of changing and affecting change on a greater scale, you know, but I think it all starts individually.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Basim.
I believe we have to start having conversations. I believe as men, we have to start having conversation with the young men on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to stop being afraid of our children. And we have to start having them intimate conversations. You know, the young boy, ask him nicely, pull your pants up. Let's have a conversation. And then give him some dialogue on why he should keep his pants up. You know, build a rapport and a relationship with that young man. So when you see him, you can have a conversation. That's missing in our community. We used to go to the barbershop, and we heard some grown man conversation at the barbershop. Go to barbershop now, You don't hear nothing but music playing, and they talking about nothing. So,
Anthony?
I just think we continue as black men. I heard a guy on TikTok say that I like to listen to. He calls it the productive majority. And I still think we should continue to be the productive majority of black males. Everybody on this panel seems to be a productive, well-meaning, well-assuming, cultured black man. You wouldn't be on this panel. Q wouldn't have picked you to be on this panel if you weren't. So I say continue to exalt that example, be the example. You know what I'm saying? Be the example for the kids coming up. You know what I'm saying? Because those kids watch. And you know what I'm saying, like, a lot of us growing up, we didn't, what I'm saying, we had influences, what I'm saying, that weren't the best. So I would say continue to be the influences for the younger generation. So we raise up, the next generation to come up, what I'm saying, to be well adjusted, what I'm saying, well meaning, productive, what I'm saying, young men, and basically that's just, in my opinion, what it is. Because, for us, what's done is done. So all we can do right now is just, try to build up the next generation coming up and help them the best and guide them the best way we can. So that's pretty much it for me in terms of that.
Arden.
One thing in life, what I'm hearing is Basim seen it tremendously, is that there's a common denominator, and the common denominator is pain. Whether you're alternative, whether you're straight, black, white, Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter your background. We all can relate to pain. And I think that if we're going to keep a strong family unit, it's a matter of how do we alleviate that pain. If we have a loved one that is going down an alternative lifestyle, we alleviate that pain by continuing to love them. I'm not mad at Magic Johnson for loving his son, accepting his son, because at the end of the day, that's his son. And so we alleviate that pain through love, and we continue to be a strong unit, a community for each other. I know that if I got a subject or a topic on my mind, I could reach out to Q, and I know he'll be candid, and I know that there's a respect and there's a love there, and so I think as a community we just need to reinforce those love aspects, and we'll build and keep our household strong.
Yeah, so I feel like just getting to the topic of emasculation and how it comes at us from society, I think the biggest part, the biggest thing that I think is going to help us is the family. I think the woman being able to talk about problems before they happen is a big step in the right direction, because once you're in a problem, emotion takes over. So kind of talking to your woman and letting her know, listen, the emasculation of a man is a big problem of how the family kind of splits up. Let's kind of attack this from the beginning before we even have a problem. Or let's have this conversation, as Basim said, and start the conversation and communication to kind of alleviate past traumas or whatever's going on. Also realizing that we're all programmed. We're all programmed. Everybody here is programmed based on what you've seen, what you've been through. All right, based on your fears, based on the things that happen to you. So accepting that you're programmed and kind of going and looking into your situation to say, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong about that. And my mom was probably programmed too. And my dad was probably programmed too. So you want to kind of break chains by taking a deep look into yourself, as Jamil and Anthony talked about. I think, as Basim said, I think that talking to youth, I've been teaching for 20 years. I still tutor online. I still talk to my youth. I talk to my neighbors if there's kids in the street or whatever. Black men need to stop competing with other black men. You need to see a black man and feel like that's me, because the same injustice that can happen to him is the same injustice that can happen to you. And the same things that can happen to him is this. So kind of having these conversations, and I commend you again, Q, for having this platform for us. But they need to see this and needs to realize that, you know what, a black man is not your enemy. As a matter of fact, he can help you more than anything else. And we need to start creating our own narrative by getting back to culture. There's certain
it
things
is.
that just need to be done. There's that kids have too many choices, right? There's certain things that just need to be done as a person. Like you said, Jamal, your mom said, don't wear earring, right? Don't wear a chain. That's important to you. Because that was something that doesn't make me any different because I have a chain on, right? You see, I'm a man, but at the end of the day, it kept you in line for your own discipline. You see what I mean? And people don't have discipline anymore. It's anything goes. So I think bringing our culture back, having conversations before the problem starts is a great step in the right direction, because if all 6 of us did that, it's going to affect thousands of people.
That's
You know,
right.
what we do starts to spread out. So I think that we need to kind of see good leaders in Black men and stop letting the TV and social media run our kids and program our minds in terms of what's popping and what's not popping. Like, I shouldn't be looking at art and, like, you know what I'm saying? And like, dang, everything down in Atlanta is Sodom and Gomorrah. That should not be. The Black people should kind of see, like, you know what, this is kind of leading us in the wrong direction, and kind of stand up and do it together. But everybody wants to be popping. Money is a big a big factor in why everything is going on. Because at the end of the day, women need money, right? They need it to live. They need to feed their kids. And if the man is not around, they're going to go get the money. And they're not going to let a man come in there and tell them what they can and can't do if they wasn't providing. That's just natural human instinct, right? So overall, the conversation needs to start.
Well, I will say this, that you know, one of the things that Basim and myself do, me and Basim, the first Wednesday of every month we do a show on men dealing with trauma. And we didn't do it this month because of some things going on with our personal lives. And then this show came up, and when I hollered at Basim, he was like, "Oh, pencil me in." You know, and when I reached out to all 5 of you guys, all y'all said pencil y'all in. One of the things that I heard that was interesting is being able to be vulnerable. And for me, speaking on the eye, that was something that wasn't always a good thing. But as you get older, you learn to not care, to be selfless. So, I appreciate you guys. You're more than welcome whenever we do something again. You guys is more than welcome to come on. Appreciate everybody in the chat that's watching. And at the end of the day, we're just 5 brothers, 6 brothers trying to make a difference. Start with one of the phrases that somebody that I respect very well. He always says it: as the man goes, the family goes. As the family goes, the community goes. As the community goes, the world goes. And he said there is no bigger case study of this than the Black man. So with that, appreciate everybody. You guys can stay on.
Thank you.
We'll close the show. And everybody in the chat, appreciate you guys for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Peace.